Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Foul Play YouTube channel, open mic number 234. Hope everyone's doing well today. And with us today, again, is Susan and Christina. How you doing, Susan? Had
Doing
a
good,
great
Jack.
day?
Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome and thanks for hanging out with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Christina, how are you today?
I'm good. I just this case and cold weather, those two combinations. Anytime it gets cold down here, I now think about cold weather in Wisconsin. I'm like, you need to be grateful because that's cold. But us Floridians are just not made for more than a day or two of below 40. We're not. I think you get a different skin. I don't know. So, but anyway, ready to start looking at this case. I was working on we're doing that, trying to break down this dump into separate reports, and there's like 130 pages of Teresa's Auto Trader employee
Yep,
records.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah, those were kind of interesting.
Yeah, that
Um,
one, that one's pretty long. There are a few that are uh, fairly long in there, but I think
mhm.
that's probably one of the longest ones. I think there's one more that is quite lengthy, but yeah, it's
There's
going through that.
also,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Well, I was just going to say, there's one other thing I'm going to send you a screenshot of. I'm sure you've already caught it, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Um, and I'm going to send you a snippet of it. And I was like, well, that's weird. Um, and because it's got a like a date of 2018 on it, and I was just like, what are they doing messing with stuff in 2018? And
Well,
hmm,
That's
that's
when they
from
re-interviewed Bobby
that's the only thing I could come up with.
after
well, I
Kathleen
guess
filed, you know.
they
Um,
interviewed several people.
Yeah, but there's a DVD and two tapes or something, and I was just like, well, huh.
Oh, okay. Well, we need to take a look at that.
Yeah, I thought you'd find that interesting.
I do, but a lot of people, well, probably many that are listening are aware that a lot of the audio video stuff wasn't turned over from the DOJ to Calumet until many years after the fact. Some of it in 2012, I know for sure. I remember that date. There were several things turned over. I'm not sure why they did that. Some things were taken from one DOJ office and then sent to Appleton, or typically Appleton. I can't think of any other DOJ office that they were sent to. And then others, I guess, are in Madison. I'm not really sure, but they have I guess they have a person that's over that audio video stuff that they maintain. I'm sure they maintain a minimum a copy, if not the master record itself. So
A lot of
yeah,
hands in the cookie jar.
there are a lot, absolutely.
And that just
So
seems like a recipe for disaster to me.
well, yeah, it is. Anyway, um, all right. I think we should jump back in if you all are ready. You ladies are ready, and everyone in the live chat, we'll jump back in where we left off. last
Go.
night. So get this pulled up here. And we start back into another interview, and I went ahead and pulled the record that I do, the old record, because this one's redacted. And it's an interview of Robert Brooks Jr. And this one was highlighted, and I thought to myself, well, why did I highlight this? And I got to reading it, and this Robert Brooks was friends with Andre Martinez. If you read down into the report, now I didn't read the whole thing, and if you all want to read it, we will. But basically, it talks about this Robert Brooks he's originally from Texas, and he assaulted a police officer down there, and he got 11 years, and he served time down there. Well, anyway, he had been in a relationship, I guess, with this Dawn.
Schultz.
Yeah, I couldn't pronounce it. Yeah, that's right. And so he moved back to Manitowoc, and anyway, they had a little family going on there, relationship. But anyway, it talks about that. I didn't read too much further than that. Says he knows Stephen
Was he at
Avery.
ASY on the 31st?
I didn't get that from that, but I didn't read that far down to see if he was at the Avery salvage yard on the 31st. It talks a lot about the family and his relationship with his kids, and because he's got one son with a different last name, so he had to explain that. So I'm not sure that Brooks said he was about 1 or 2 before Halloween on the 31st. He was at Stephen Avery Auto Salvage, at the Avery Auto Salvage Yard, trying to find parts for a black 1992 Honda Accord. He said he owns a convertible and goes to the salvage yard occasionally, get parts, yada yada yada. Brooks said he bought both those vehicles from Martinez. Said on occasion Charles allows him to go into the yard to find parts for his vehicles. Brooks said there's a similar Acura in the salvage yard, which he takes parts off of. So, the Martinez angle is kind of caught a lot of people's attention because of the things that he said.
And did.
Well, yeah, he went after his significant other with an axe. So that's pretty.
And an animal at that.
Yep.
And a child.
Yep.
And he was the only one making the news for being violent that week against people.
Yeah, he's got quite the temper.
Mm-hmm. I think he was. If I remember right, I think there was a letter to a child of his where he was apologizing. I think he had a bad drug problem.
Yeah, I think he probably did too.
Yeah, and that has a tendency to make most people, unpredictable. That BB road is very interesting.
What road?
If you look, I think it's where they held the interview. It's BB. The road names in Wisconsin are strange. It looks like they have multiple names depending on I can only speak to what I've seen, in Florida and Texas. But for Florida, we have county roads, which are like CR and then the number. Then we have state roads, which are SR. Then we have the interstate. and then you'll have like the U.S. highway roads, right?
Yeah.
And in Texas, they have what's called FM, and I found out that stands for Farm to Market Road, because they were old roads used to haul the stuff to market on, and then
Produce, whatever.
yeah, and then once they got paid, they just kept the name. But then they have, you know, state roads and then the interstate. Well, what it appears to me is that Wisconsin uses the letters of the alphabet for their state roads. And so you'll have, like, the county will have a road, like Xander Road, for instance. Through Manitowoc, it's Xander, but through the entire state, I believe it's known as BB, and it's like Highway Q. Same thing. It has different names, but it's a state road, letter Q. Isn't that interesting?
It is. It's
Because you think it's a different road, but you begin to realize that there's certain roads that they may have a name in one county, but it's actually letter fill in the blank throughout the state. And maybe if Corey Zipper's in here, he can explain it better. Doesn't he live in Wisconsin?
I think so. Yeah, Corey's
Yeah.
in there.
Yep. If I'm saying that right, just let me know. And if I'm not, correct me where I'm wrong. But
It's weird. It's weird here too in Michigan. I mean, like in our area, our county. I'm not sure where this measurement comes from, but we have, like, I live off of, in a subdivision. I live off of 9.5 mile road. Seriously, 9.5 mile road. Now it's got another name too that's attached to it, but then as you go across from north to south, there's 10.5 mile road, 11.5 mile road. I'm not kidding.
you know, it's interesting.
That's
You're in
weird.
Michigan, aren't you?
I'm sorry.
You're in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
It's like that in Detroit, because you know Eminem lived off
Yeah.
8 Mile.
Yeah. Sure.
So is that the length of the road?
I have no idea how they derived that name.
Like,
'Cause if you
why
go-
do it like that? That is interesting.
I don't know. If you go east of me, you get down to 8.5 mile road, 7.5 mile road. I'm not really sure. I don't know how they derived that, came up with that. I mean, it works, of course. It's an address and it's permanent. So
Yeah,
it's
but I wonder
it's
what the
just-
significance is. I'm
don't know.
curious like that. Now I'm gonna have to look it up. Now that I know it's more than just a Detroit thing. It's a Michigan thing.
Yeah.
All right, what do they got for you, Susan? How does your state do the roads?
We've got FRs, farm roads.
Okay.
Yeah. And all the others. Yeah. State roads and
County or whatever.
county roads. Yeah.
Most of ours are numbers. So, and then you can always tell east, west, and north, south by odd and even.
Yep. Just like interstates.
Yep. So your north-south roads
They should be odd.
they're odd, and your east-west are even.
Yeah.
And so that's how ours are, for the most part.
Corey does have a question here. Is it true that Calumet had somebody else in custody just in case they couldn't? I guess that's the coerce Brendan. I haven't heard that. I haven't
heard that either.
That's interesting if true, though. I'm sure they had a backup plan to their backup.
Well, I'm sure they definitely had a backup plan for Avery. And I can't say that for Brendan because he's clearly kind of the wild card. But for Avery, I mean, I look at the depositions, and because that was what the thing was at the time, and they were not going well for the state. We all know that.
That's putting it politely.
It is, and there's no way they wanted that in an open court. They didn't. So I think something was going to happen.
I think.
Corey,
Go ahead.
Corey says the state roads are usually odd numbers when running north-south. If they're going east-west, they're even numbers.
So what are these? So Corey, what are these letters? Like this Highway BB, Highway B. I'm trying to think of the other ones I've seen. Highway Q. Like, what's the significance of those, if you know?
They have X and Z.
Oh, yeah, there's an X. And yep, that's right. I knew there was more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's something we can look into because I really have no idea. I mean, there's some odd things here too. I mean, you have a road, running east-west or north-south, and you'll come to an intersection. The road is named. You come to that intersection, it's named one thing. You cross the intersection, it gets renamed to something else. It's a different road. If you go straight through, it becomes a different road. That I know that's a thing. It probably isn't just here, but it's, to me, that can be really confusing.
Yeah, it's especially if people aren't familiar with it and they're depending on GPS and all that.
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't know. Anyway, I guess that's something we can look into. All right. Let's move on. 162. This is another interview of Jodi. You got to keep in mind there are many others. They had already talked to her by the 29th. They had already talked to her, I'm guessing at minimum 3 times, maybe 4. I mean, they talked to her the day of the 5th, that afternoon.
So
they talked to her.
Would you say she and Brendan were the most interviewed out of everyone?
No doubt.
Okay.
Probably Jodi, and if not Jodi, people that she knows, her, mates, other inmates at the county jail, her family, friends that they ran down that she knew. I mean, I isolated 21. I think it's 21 different instances. I've got a document, and I think I missed 1 or 2 in that document. There's over 20 times that she's interviewed or somebody that she knows is interviewed because they're trying to find out, X, Y, and Z on her because they're trying to get her to flip course. And I wonder, I haven't dove into this one, but I will tell you all that my oldest open records request for the DOJ is of an interview that Deb Strauss and John Dettering did on the 11th. I can't remember if it's the 11th or 12th of November. I believe it's the 12th. But apparently they have it because they would have denied it because I got, when I bitched to them about it, they told me they had records responsive to my request, which was an audio file. And I still don't have it. Now, I suspect all of her interviews were recorded. Even this one, I don't know that because, I could pull the other one up. And this is 162. Let's see if we've got that one. I'm sure we do. This is the original. And you can see there's nothing listed, but there's nothing listed on the interview of the 12th, November 12th either, where they've turned in a cassette, a micro cassette. There's nothing. But they've already told me they have records responsive to my request, but it's not included.
Yeah, right? That's bizarre.
Well, like I said, I feel certain that all of her interactions were recorded.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, Strauss and
Mhm.
John Dettering again went to interview Jodi at the Manitowoc County Jail. I didn't read this one. I mean, there's nothing here.
And she
Of,
was everywhere, wasn't she?
Oh, Strauss. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Everywhere. And very rarely did she write reports.
Right. And she definitely, there's, from what I've noticed, there's been a great effort to kind of bury anything she's recorded in.
Mm-hmm.
We have very, very little of anything recorded from Deb Strauss. But again, this report is told in the narrative, and it's her report. And as you can see, it's multiple pages long. And again, I fully believe, this is why I believe that it was recorded. It's too detailed.
Oh,
She's not gonna remember all those details, even in taking notes. There's just no way. So anyway, I probably will end up going after that one too. Hopefully, it won't take 2 years to get it. But
You know, it would be. How would you request reports from all cases one officer wrote? Could you do that?
you could, but they probably would say your request is too broad.
I knew
And
you were
deny
going to use that word.
and deny it. Yeah, because I did that request asking for all requests and replies over a certain time period, and there were some in there that somebody requests everything in the the Avery case or whatever, and the reply was your request is too broad, it's too much, you need to narrow your request. That's why I tell people, scope is too broad. Yeah, that's why I tell people that have asked me, even if you're going to request multiple items, be specific and provide any documentation that evidence that you're looking for is listed. But don't request everything, because they're probably going to say no.
Yeah, and they'll do it gleefully.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, because I mean, they're they do have to use somebody from the office to prepare the reports and yada yada yada. So I get it. May not like it because they don't have a dedicated person that all they do is records requests, because there's times that they probably wouldn't have anything to do, and then they get hit. So I get it. All right, next report is 163. I don't know. Let's see. I'm not going to pull the original up. We do have it. We've had that one. So anyway, this is a records exam from Dr. Kenneth Bennett's report on examination of bone material. And here we jump to the 8th, December 8th. That's about a week after that last report. I think it was the 29th. So, date of activity, 12/8. Monday, 11/14. Okay, so this is, okay. Special Agent James Holmes received Dr. Kenneth Bennett's report. Well, I thought you got this thing dated December 8th. So we're about 3 weeks after the fact. Pertaining to the examination of the bone material he had received from Special Agent Dorinda Freymiller on 11/9. DCI Report 10. On Thursday, 12/8, Special Agent Holmes received Dr. Bennett's report. Bennett's report of his examination of the bone and other material that he received from Freymiller included the following information. Bennett says human, sex female, adult, probably 20 to 50 years old. Some things is unable to determine. Current date, the 10th of November. Date and place of examination in Madison. Bennett will be included in the case file and a report. Okay, and they've attached Bennett's report through that DCI report. So
Ooh.
he's got some notes here that he's included in his examination. I can't say that I've read this. I don't think I have. It looks like it's about roughly a page, not quite, maybe. So, you guys want to read this or no?
Yeah, let's read this.
Maybe blow it up here just a little bit bigger. Go ahead.
At the time, date, and place given above, I received from Dorinda Freymiller, Special Agent DCI, a cardboard box presumably containing burned bones from a site unknown to me. Agent Freymiller asked for my help in determining whether these remains were human or non-human, or for any other information that might be useful in identification. I opened the box, which contained several dozen. No actual count was made. Small, almost incinerated, and fragmentary scraps of bone, many of which were immediately and incontrovertibly diagnosable as human. The remains were then poured out on a clean piece of cardboard and inspected piece by piece. Each piece was moved about with a knife point so as to prevent contamination with my own DNA, and at no time was such contamination allowed. There is no evidence to suggest that non-human animal bones are present, although many of the parts are so small and burned that species identification would be virtually impossible. Likewise, there is no evidence to suggest that more than one individual is involved, although for the same reasons, more than one individual could be involved, but simply unrecognizable. Some of the larger, more definitive parts were selected out and placed in an evidence bag, while some non-bony material received similar treatment. Notable here were several metal snaps, as on a blouse, for instance, along with a zipper handle and perhaps part of a metal belt catch. Among the bony fragments, fortunately, was part of the ilium, ischium, acetabellum, and greater sciatic notch with an angulation of approximately 90 degrees. This is strongly indicative of the female sex. In addition, the size of the radial head, humeral head, zygomatic, and faintly developed linea aspera all suggest female, even given considerable shrinkage due to heat. The rather broad age range given in the summary reflects the absence of the bones necessary for a more precise estimate. But of those bones present, all epiphyseal unions are complete, indicating an age of about 20 years. Likewise, although not the best indicator, all cranial sutures are still patent, which would tend to rule out an older individual.
First of all, we're going to have to give Susan a golf clap for reading those really difficult doctor words.
I'm sure most of them weren't correct, but...
Well, no, I think the most of them were. I think you just stumbled over really one. So, fantastic. So basically, he's saying he can't nail down the precise age. So that's why it's so broad, 20 to 50 years old.
I think this is a little different than the one we have. We have a report from Bennett, but I feel like there's a couple of things in here that I've never heard him say before.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I remember his report being different too. There isn't. I know there's another report. I know there is.
Yeah. This is BB's cardboard box.
Yeah, came in a box, left in a box.
That's right.
Well,
you know, when I look at that box, it doesn't appear to me to have tiny little pieces, like, you know, fingernail size.
No.
It just doesn't look that way to me.
Unless they settle into the bottom and they're just covered up. I agree with you.
If there was if there was tiny little pieces of bone fragments that were not in some sort of sealed environment, they're risking losing valuable forensic evidence.
Well, and they could crumble too if they've been subjected
Yes,
to that high of heat
that's right.
for hours.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that back up. I do not remember the report we have from Bennett talking about moving him around with a knife tip.
No,
I don't remember ever hearing that before or reading that before. That's new to me now. I'm not saying I haven't, but I don't recall that. Because that really is that's a very descriptive way to state the size and how tiny these fragments are.
Right. Well, I think it's important talking about the box. None of there's no GPS. Obviously, we don't have any photographs, which has been a huge point of contention for many of us for years now. And there was no GPS locator identifying that burn pit attached. It's just like this. Let's just scrape everything up and throw it in this box, sift it, throw it in this box, and haul it off because Dr. Eisenberg was not. She was out, whatever, doing a conference or whatever she's doing. I can't remember now, but I just have all kinds of problems with this.
Yeah, where's the rest of the bones? I want to know.
Yeah.
Where are her femurs? Where are her ribs? Her spine? I mean,
where's the crime scene?
Well, then
it's the rest of the skull.
We enter into Cuss Road. We enter into, which was the 7th, that we enter into Sipple's phone call to Captain Rush. Him and a couple of DCI agents have found a couple of 5-gallon boxes or buckets full of human bones. His identification, not ours. I mean,
it's Bennett manslaughter. Dr. Bennett, right?
Yeah, this was Bennett. Yep, that's right. And he looked at this box of bones before Eisenberg got back. So, but we get into Sipple's call again to Captain Rush. That's unexplainable.
Yeah.
This is because no bones were entered into evidence. Nothing was photographed. We don't know what it is. And they're just gone somewhere. No clue what happened there. And I
no evidence numbers, no nothing, huh?
No, nothing. And Bennett got $150 for doing his examination, by the way. Made checks payable. That's another thing.
Cheap.
Well, yeah, but he just did a quick exam. You know, Jinx got those receipts for what they spent, and Culhane and Eisenberg were paid thousands and thousands of dollars for their work.
They got bonuses, right? Or Culhane did.
Yeah, so did Eisenberg. I think Eisenberg dragged out, I'll say, I can't remember if it was 9,000 or 12,000 extra. She got 3 or 4 checks out of the deal. I know that. And Culhane got.
I remember those. Yeah.
What's this say? Tinley, please send check. Oh, to Dr. Bennett for his services.
Speaking of money.
Yeah.
What?
What's that? Speaking of money, what there, Christina?
Well, yeah, we're talking about all the money that got paid out of it. Well, he got $150 for that little report.
Yep. A little quick down and dirty. Anyway, I could talk all night about that. just the lack of chain of custody. Spending all this, well, it really wasn't that much time, but and didn't document any of it. I got a problem with that. Need to take this back down a notch. Okay, receipt of photos. This is on the occurred from the 7th to the 9th, to November 7th through December 9th. Reports 13th. Skolinski.
Jeff,
may
I
have
know
photo-
Corey. I think Corey asked this last night. Do we have Scott Toddick's phone records?
No, we do not. Unless I'm just completely missing it.
Did they get them?
I don't think they did. I don't think they did. They got we got Ryan Hilgus, of course, Stevens, Barb's. There's another one too that I'm forgetting. I'll double check that, Corey, and make sure. I'll look and see. I'll try to do that tonight and get you an answer. I'm 99.9% sure they didn't. They got Bobby's. Remember, that's the one I'm missing. Got Bobby's phone records. That was in Zellner's, one of Zellner's briefs, motions, whatever. Is there another one I'm forgetting? I think that's it. I'm sure there are others that they probably got that we don't know about. And I will tell you, if you look in the discovery dump, there is 2 entries. And one, they sent out subpoenas, and that's what I mean. I mean the state sent out subpoenas to multiple different cell phone providers, cell phone, I guess, and other probably landline, for multiple numbers. I've tried twice, maybe 3 times to get. There's also a return to that, to these various phone companies. Now we've got a little bit of it that's included in this report, but we don't have it all. I think the request was 38 pages that they sent for the subpoenas to these various company cell phone providers and so forth. I think the reply is 130 or 40 pages long. I think that's right. And I've tried, but I remember specifically asking when Wiegert was sheriff. He was a records custodian, and he said, I think his reply was, you have to be specific about what number you're looking for or something of that effect, whatever. And I replied back, how can I know unless I see the subpoena? There's no way, that there's no way that I can know that. And I never got a reply, no matter what I said. He just dropped it like he had fulfilled my request.
He laughed at you.
Yeah, lol. Anyway, this is this DCI report is the Grand Dam and the flatbed, the Avery salvage yard flatbed. So this may have photographs attached. I don't know that though. November 7th, approximately 11:15 a.m. Skrilinski assisted the Wisconsin State Crime Lab and Merrimack County Sheriff's Department with the search of a red 2005 International Harvester flatbed truck. He has a license plate. During seizures, utilized a Canon Sure Shot 60 zoom using 200 speed film. Took 9 photographs of the vehicle and 2 photographs of the second vehicle, which was Avery's blue Grand Dam. So let's see if they're attached. They are. Some of these we'd already seen. I don't think we had all these. I'll blow it up a little bit here. I know I've seen that one before. I don't think I'd seen this one until this report. But now if he's using this, I mean, you got to admit, they use film, so these photographs were scanned, pretty high def for a scan.
Yeah.
Right?
These are better than some of the photos they submitted at trial.
Absolutely, they are. Well, at least the version we got.
Go back.
Yep.
What kind of vehicle is that to the behind that white car?
Looks like a maybe a Crown
Oh,
Vic.
a minivan.
Oh, that minivan back there. Yeah,
Mhm. And a Blazer.
I'm guessing. Well, I don't know what these other vehicles back here are, if they're evidence or what.
It'd be funny if we got a picture of the RAV in there, though, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, they weren't quite that far yet, or maybe they had already been there because
Well, the
these
narrative,
vehicles were
says it. They're not.
these two vehicles were seized on the 6th. Don't let anybody fool anybody. They were seized noon on November 6th.
That date says the 7th.
Well, that's when they allegedly did their search, but we don't know what else is in that garage. What's behind Skrolinsky taking these, right?
That's right.
The radio. Why they leave the microphone laying on the floor? Come on, Chuck. Put a hanger in there, man.
Crushed it.
Here's the photo log. Yeah, looks like all the photos listed there. Yep, I sent to that one. All right. Yeah, that's another project. I'm going to try to get all the photographs clipped out of the DCI reports. I'm not doing that yet. That's a separate project, so we can have them separately set to be just in the photos gallery. I believe I talked to Zoe earlier. I'm pretty sure she has moved the rent photos into the library. There's a link there. I've got them up on Google Drive. Anyway, let's move on. 165, correction to report. 137, another correction. Skrolinsky, what'd he do wrong? In a prior report, 137, regarding the transfer of evidence, a pillbox listed under DCI property tag 6258 item 3 was mistakenly identified as item 1 when it was transferred to County Sheriff's Department. The pillbox should have been identified as item 3. Special Agent Holmes previously reported this pillbox to be empty when it was transferred into and out of DCI as evidence. The change from item 1 to item 3 is reflected on a copy of the property receipt number DT6258. A copy of that property receipt will be placed into the case file. Well, what does that mean? It's still empty. That doesn't explain anything. Come on, man.
And yet it still keeps going around the state.
Well, I would like to be able to be the one to tell Duke, hey, here's what you need, man. Here, we found it, and there's still no answer. Now, I'm not sure if he's written to the DOJ to try to run this down in a formal records request. What the hell happened to this 7928? I think it is. That's empty. Why are you sending around empty pillboxes that's supposed to be containing charred remains? And it's the Culhane and Eisenberg say it's empty. There's nothing in it. I just got an odd text message from a number. I have no idea who it is. They said hello. Okay, transfer of evidence. This is 166. Skorlinski and Neil McGrath from the Milwaukee. Yeah, we saw him before. Milwaukee Narcotics DCI. December 7th, approximately 1 p.m., while at the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Academy in Franklin, Skorlinski received from McGrath evidence listed on DCI property receipt D6530, items 1 and 2. This evidence consisted of 2 computer disks obtained from the Auto Trader magazine containing photographs of vehicles. The computer disk under item 1 contained photos of vehicles from Stephen Avery's account. His account number, I guess, is number 45860, and the computer disk number 2 contained photographs of vehicles under Tom Yonda. Account number gives that. This evidence was being transferred to Special Agent Skorlinski so he could transfer it to Fassbender. On Wednesday, December the 14th, at approximately 9:10 a.m., while at the Appleton DC office, Skorlinski transferred this evidence to Fassbender. This evidence contained under property receipt D6530, items 1 and 2. These items will remain in evidence at the Appleton DCI office. Yada, yada, yada. Copies of the photographs are attached as related object files. A copy of the property receipt we placed in the file. So these are photos that Teresa had taken of vehicles that Avery and I guess Yonda had sold.
That's a sharp looking car.
Well, for its age, yeah, you know.
It kind of reminds me of that movie, The Car. Have y'all, not Christine, but The Car. It reminds me of that, but then it's also, that is just one, that is a very unique looking vehicle.
Yeah, it is. It reminds me of a Monte Carlo, but that's not a Monte Carlo.
I'm not sure what it is, but it is sharp. It looks like something one of the mafia guys would have been riding around in the 70s.
Yeah, and here's your moonshiner car. This is I'm pretty sure this is is that a Monte Carlo? Or no, it's an Oldsmobile. Looks like 442 maybe.
It looks like a Cutlass.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I don't know if it's a Cutlass 442 or just a Cutlass, but sharp looking little car. Another, this looks like a Mazda of some type, maybe.
Or an old Porsche.
I don't think it's a Porsche. I don't think it's a Porsche, but some kind of little sports car.
Those things sit so low, you're going to hit your head on them. That's me right there.
I had a 79 Datsun 280ZX years ago. And let me tell you, that thing would haul, you know what?
Oh, yeah. They sit so low, though.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be careful. You're going to whack your head on the frame of the door.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it. But
and then
the Datsuns are fun.
And I don't know whose Blazer this was, if this was Bobby's Blazer, or I don't remember Steven having a Blazer, but what do I know? I know that there was one that they talked about in the phone calls that I'm sure it was Dolores or Bard talking about it. They said it didn't run good. It was very difficult to get started, especially when it was cold. So I'm not sure whose this one is, but nonetheless, here it is. It ended up in the Auto Trader. And then here's a little Plymouth. I'm not sure what model it is.
I think that was like remember the Plymouth Eagle Talon or whatever?
Could have been. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this looks like a different Grand Am than the one in Avery. The color looks different, but he could be the same one for all I know. So several photographs attached. All of those I think we've seen before. I'm sure that we have those in one capacity or another from different requests. All right, 167.
So
Contact
those
with.
are all the times that she went out to the property and interacted with Stephen and didn't
Yep.
have issue.
Right. And Yonda. Yep. No problem at all.
Mhm.
All right. 167. Contact with State Crime Lab regarding the Hobart vehicle. And here we are way back on the 6th. That's been.
Dark green.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's right. Now, this report here is a real telltale because it's used in conjunction with the unfiled search warrant that Christina got in 2022. It's a real problem for them that's unexplained to this day. Many of the things that he discusses in here, he talks about, basically he's talking to Steve Harrington. He said he had to employ a locksmith. Well, we don't have any photos of any of that. And apparently there's no law enforcement, that brings up another question. We just read the report from Skorlinski. He went to the DCI, to the Madison lab and helped them search Avery's Grand Am and that flatbed. But they've got the victim's vehicle and there's no cop there when they open it. Somebody please explain that to me. There's no law enforcement available. Even if they don't participate, there's no one there. I just cannot understand that. When you've got Skorlinski, a DCI agent, along with the Marinette County cops that are also there when they search the flatbed in the Grand Am. So they've got at least three cops there, but no one there from law enforcement when they open up and search Teresa's vehicle. Someone please help me understand that. I'm willing to listen to something reasonable. I am. I don't get that. People say otherwise. The state advocates say otherwise. That you're reading too much into it. I don't think I am. And they didn't photograph any of it. So anyway, before I get really off on a ramble here, he talks about as the RAV4 been locked and they had to enlist the services of a locksmith to gain entry. He didn't say how they did it. He just said they used a locksmith to gain entry. For all we know, he used a Slim Jim. Because again, as we know, to get the lock code for the keys, you have to get inside the door panel of the passenger side door and look at the lock that's on the passenger side door. That's where the lock code is for those vehicles. That's in the report that Fassbender got from Toyota itself. I'm not making that up. That's what they said. And those locks, I believe for the RAV4, they have 5,000 combinations, so they change. So every 5,000, they go back to, number one, I guess. So anyway, analyst Harrington advised they visually observed what appeared to be blood in the rear cargo area of the vehicle and passenger side when they appeared to be impressions caused by hair in the blood. Analyst Harrington described the amount of blood on the rear portion of the vehicle as very visual amount. Analyst Harrington advised that they observed visible palm prints on the vehicle. The cargo area, they failed to mention that there was definitely a cargo mat a cargo mat in the back of that RAV, and it was missing. Or from what we know, it's missing. It was definitely there. Something's made that blood flow in a straight line.
Well, yeah, I think what should have been stated, if they were being honest, would be it is clear some sort of material has been removed.
Yeah, obstacle.
Which allowed a non-typical straight line of blood to be deposited.
I'm sure that they noticed it and just left it. They omitted it.
Mm-hmm. or edited it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is also this is when, yeah, so bizarre.
It is bizarre. And then when you throw in, again, you throw in the unfiled warrant that you got, Christina, it raises questions. And I will tell you, yeah, I've probably told you before, a truther that's been around since 2017, almost as long as I have, wrote the DOJ asking for an explanation. Where is this bloody instrument? That email bounced around to over close to 120 different replies in that email chain with no answers.
Really?
You know what? Yeah. Oh, I hadn't told you that.
No.
Yeah, I've read it. They sent it to me. So
Do we
no
have all
answers.
those emails?
It's one email. It's one email. Yeah, I've got it.
And it just got forwarded to 120 people.
Bounce here, bounce, go over here, come back to you, go over here to you. No answers. No one can explain it. So
Very interesting.
that's right. Anyway, let's move on. I could stay into that one for hours.
I'd like to
168.
know, yeah, I'd like to know who those 120 people got sent to.
Well, some of them are the same because it would come back to this person, number 3 or number 10. Then it would bounce over to. So anyway,
Yeah.
Report 168, contact with Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department regarding an anonymous caller. This is on the 7th, so we went back in time again. See how far off these are? This should have been
ridiculous.
This should have been way back in the, the teens or the 20s as far as report number. Roland Johnson's okay. This is okay. That's right. Remember, you guys remember there were about 3 calls from a female and said you guys need to talk to Roland Johnson. That's what this is. Yeah. Contact with Jason Orth of the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department. Orth advised his department received information. An anonymous caller who indicated that the owner of the trailer Stephen Avery lived in was Roland Johnson from Jackson, Wisconsin. Phone number, blah, blah, blah. So she did call about 2 or 3 times. 2 that I can remember for sure. Okay. Here we are. Search warrant chart with charges. 169. Execution of search warrant at the Avery Auto Salvage. And of course, this is one of many. Covered from the 9th to the 11th, so it's a 48-hour warrant. That's what it tells me. So multiple locations that they're searching. And then, of course, it's got all the different properties. And the names, I'm sorry. So 5 names there, 4 properties. I'm sure it's probably got the search warrant. We're not going to read all this. I'm going to guess this is one of the ones we've got. And then, of course, it gives the search warrant. I'll flip through that. I can't read that name. It doesn't look like. Is that Fox? That's Fox's. Yep, that's Fox. Interesting. Brenda's not involved yet. They've already they're going after Fox. Hey, we need a search warrant. It gives an affidavit. I haven't read this one. Maybe I'll take the time to go through and read that one again. Hoggle and Kratz. And then the return of the officer. Or yeah, the return. This is return.
Oh, they went to get the porn.
Of course they did. But that's just for the articles. Come on, Susan. You read those for the articles.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to go through all that. 170. Contact with State Crime Lab regarding the Halbach vehicle. This is on the 7th. Again, Fassbender. We've got this report. I remember reading it. It goes through just various talking about just different things that from the state crime. We're not going to read this one. We've had this one available for forever. Talks about, measuring the seat and how far back it was, yada, yada, yada. Wow, blank page. Good job. 171, telephone contact with Barbianda on the 11th. This is Fassbender. Pretty sure we have this one too. We did a phone interview with Barb. By the 11th, this was probably the third or fourth contact that law enforcement had with Barb. I know they had some contact on the 5th. They had contact on the 6th. They had contact on the 7th or 8th. They had contact on the 9th, which was the buccal swabs and so forth. And here we are on the 11th. So this is maybe the 5th or 6th contact at that point. During the contact, she advised that someone was following her husband, Tom Yonis. She advised the person following them was in a teal-colored car. Anyway, y'all can read this. We're not going to read through it. It's relatively short. 172, entry into Stephen Avery's garage and skid steer measurement. This is on the 10th. So we're way back in time. We're a month and 4 days away from the actual occurrence. Fassbender and Wendy Baldwin. They changed it to Schmidt, but that's Wendy Baldwin. Yeah. I'm sure we've got this one too. And you guys are welcome to this pretty short report. You guys are welcome to read it if you wish. 173, DNA standards from Karen and Tim Halbach. This is where they went and got the buccal swab from Tim and Karen. I'm not entirely sure why they didn't collect DNA from the sister or Mike. I don't really understand that, why this went the way it did, but again, it's a short report. 174, contact with Dr. Leslie Eisenberg. Hey, this is on the 14th of November. It only took Fassbender a month and 2 days this time to file a report. So it's got Eisenberg and Dr. Simley mentioned, and Teresa as well. Fort Fassbender had telephone contact with Eisenberg, forensic anthropologist. Eisenberg advised that she had looked at all of the materials that had been turned over to her and had separated out hair, bone, dental, and metal materials. She advised that Dr. Simley, forensic odontologist, had received the teeth material. Eisenberg advised that she was continuing to refine and sort the materials to parts of the body, and advised that at that point, almost every part of the body was represented. She advised it was unlikely that there was an alternative location used to hide the body. She also advised that she was going to try to identify the materials by marking or color coding them so it could be determined exactly what location they had originally come from. Well, she didn't really do much of any of that because she didn't cut into anything to see if it was human or animal. Well, that was a lie. Eisenberg advised that it appeared that as though the fragments of bone was a result of fire. She advised that there was evidence of heat-related trauma in every piece she had looked at. She advised the broken edges of the bone show some heat damage as the bones themselves, which would indicate they were broken during the fire. However, it was unknown at that time if they could have been broken before the fire. Well, one would think that if they were broken, well, I don't know. Got something from Kansas. First thing I hear about the email bouncing all around the DOJ trying to explain the blunt blade object in Uyghur's draft search warrant close to 120 times. Yeah, well, yeah, I've known about it for quite some time because this person, I'm not going to identify them because I don't have permission to do that. I mean, they're not hidden from the world by any means. They are still involved in the case, but they sent this request like within a day or two of Sunshine getting this unfiled search warrant, and we made it public. It was very quick. So anyway, contact with Karen Halbach. Let's move on. 175. This is on the 14th for Fassbender, month and 2 days behind. Is that mean spirited of me to call him out on that?
No.
On what? I'm sorry.
I said, is it mean spirited of me to call out Fassbender for being lazy about filing reports?
Oh, hell no.
I mean, if he can't do it, I mean, his dictated whatever could have went to, a junior agent or someone to route the report in a timely fashion. Anyway, this talks about Fassbender having contact with Karen Halbach to discuss obtaining personal items of Teresa's. Fassbender explained to Karen that items would be used by the Wisconsin State Crime Lab to attempt to obtain a DNA profile for Teresa. It was agreed that Fassbender would contact, I'm guessing that's Hilgus, to attempt to obtain some of those items from Teresa Halbach's residence, which of course they did. But again, you got chain of custody problems, and they knew it. It's just an issue. We could probably, say for sure that this stuff was Teresa's, her personal items, underwear or whatever, and they were probably just fine for identification. But you run into another problem because they never tested any of that stuff, as to my knowledge. There's no report. All right, moving on. 176, contact with Alan Avery on the 14th. Hey, he's still just a month and 2 days behind. Fassbender, Alan Avery telephone, Agent Fassbender on Fassbender's cell phone. Alan expressed concerns about business records that had been taken from the office, about his wife's sheets being taken, about car trunks being forced open, and Chuck Avery's door being broken. He questioned why law enforcement could not go into Chuck Avery's back door. Ask why, I guess. Fassbender discussed concerns with him and advised that as much care and caution was used during the execution of the warrant on Avery property. Fassbender also assured Alan Avery.
Bullshit. I call bullshit.
Yeah, no doubt. They were more than happy to make copies of the business records and return them to him. Ultimately, Alan Avery indicated he understood, and the contact was concluded. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure that Alan Avery said that thousands of dollars were taken that he never got back as well. Unless I'm missing something. Anyway, 177, receipt of report. This is on the 16th by Skurlinski, same day as he got it. So he filed it pretty quickly, whatever this is. 9:15 on the 16th of December, 9:15 a.m. while at the DCI office. Skurlinski received a report from Lieutenant Cheryl Eischen of the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department, a copy of the incident report relating to Stephen Avery. Lieutenant Eischen queried Avery's name through the Winnebago County law enforcement database and found one incident involving Avery. The incident report was from the town of Menasha. I've been to Menasha. Mm-hmm. It's got the report number dated September 3rd, 1996, reporting the case that I'm guessing Avery or somebody came into contact or came into the town of Menasha to report that she was receiving mail from an ex-boyfriend, Avery, who was currently at the Fox Lake Correctional Institution. Blank stated that mail was going to her old address in Manitowoc County and is being forwarded to her current residence. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure if we've got this one or not. 177. I can't recall reading this one. Yep, we got it. We got the original, and it's unredacted, of course. Jennifer Yonda. Huh. For some reason, I don't remember reading this one, but I don't think anything came of it. So, all right, let's move on. Okay, this is a copy from the Menasha Police Department of the incident, and we don't have this. Everything redacted, but we know who it is. So anyway, far as I know, nothing came of it. All right, moving on. 178. Execution of warrant at the Avery residence. This is on the 16th of December report. This is when they went and got the bookcase, 12/9. So we've got this and the photos. And looked like they took a Sony remote. I'm guessing that was for the TV. I don't know that. Anyway, we're not going to read through this. We've seen this report before. I made the entry and took the bookcase. 2-page report, looks like. Oh, 3-page report. Looks like they took more than.
They figured out by that time how to explain the key.
That's funny. Looks like they took some books, cordless handset.
Photographs of it.
I'm not sure if they're attached. We'll see, but I don't think they are. Yeah, they did. I don't think they attached the photos of the ones that we've got. I'm not sure who got those. I think they may have been in that huge dump that Henbury got. Hey, we got a fax.
There's a good photo.
Yeah, that's a winner there. God, that's awful. Wow.
The facts.
Yeah. What awful photographs they would include.
Pieces.
And of course the queso ledger. All right, that's into that one. 179. Another month and 2-day late report from Fassbender. Examination of digital photos taken by Teresa Hollock. Okay.
Yeah, maybe Remacher took Paul's cash.
Okay. Thursday, December 1st, McGrath went to the Auto Trader magazine. Okay, I think this talks about the disc that Skorlinski handed off to Fassbender earlier. I'm sure of it, so we know what this
The
is.
2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 disc. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Also includes some. We don't have this. We've never seen these before. I guess in the format that they use. Gives the metadata over there. So,
you know why would they have these and then the pictures of the little bookcase Rid of them.
That's what I'm saying. They picked,
God.
they picked and chose
Yeah.
certain reports of what photographs to include, and other ones they just leave them completely out. Talk about how in the photos, but they don't list them. They don't attach them. But this one, if you can clearly see over here on the right, it gives the camera properties and it lists the metadata. So don't anyone ever think that these guys don't know what metadata is. They do.
Of course they do.
And then there's Christine's Mafia car, her boss car. That is a Porsche, 1987 Porsche. Hey, it probably gives that other car up here.
Good job, Christina.
69 Lincoln. You know, the 69 Lincoln,
Oh,
69 Lincoln, the 4.0 version, they had suicide doors. You remember that, don't you guys? The back doors open from the front, and they call them suicide doors.
oh yeah.
Christina may have stepped away. Anyway, let's move on. That was a Porsche. This is a Pontiac Grand Prix. I swear that don't look like a Grand Prix. I swear that name. Maybe it is. Okay. Plymouth Laser is the little red car. 92 Grand Am. And this is the boat trailer that Avery had for sale. We've seen. We didn't have this wide angle. I remember there's a photo of the trailer itself, but this back part had been cut out. Another photo of it. 2 pictures. That's it. Interesting. And you notice the metadata wasn't included on some of those last ones either. For some reason, I don't know why. Okay, moving on. 180. Response to the release of Avery salvage yard. And of course, the seizure date was from the 5th to the 12th. Fassbender. This report's dated 12/9, so basically a month later. And again, we're not going to read through all this.
Yeah. That's the entire time they were there.
Well, I think it's a lot of it in more of like a condensed form.
Fassbender.
I said this was 180. I don't know if we got this one or not. Let's see. Yeah, we've got it. So I'm sure I've read it before. I don't remember anything spectacular, but maybe one to reread again if we pick anything up. Yeah, this was several pages. He's on the 8th. Yeah, he's given a summary here going into the 8th to the 10th. I wonder why he skipped the 9th. November 8th.
To the 10th, to the 12th. Was he not there on the 9th?
Well, he wasn't there on the 8th either. Remember? That's when they allegedly found these bones. Him and Wiegert were nowhere. I don't even think they were called. If they were, I don't remember it. Says Wiegert was summoned to the salvage yard to a salvage vehicle along the north side of the yard, wherein the license plate to Hallbox RAV was found. But as far as we know, they weren't there when Sturdivant and the gang. Yeah, they weren't there. They're not mentioned. Yeah, but the 9th is skipped. The 11th is skipped. Anyway, I guess this is discussing when they gave everything, turned the property back over to the Averys. Moving on, 181. Contact with Al Avery regarding the golf cart. I'm sure he's probably wanting it back. And goes into that. I think this is, I'm sure that's just one we've got. 182. business ledger analyzed. Sturdivant. I don't know that we had this one or not. I suspect we did. Yeah, we got that one too. So, we know that they went through the ledgers and so forth and business records to find out who had bought what around the time frame. So, I'm not going to read too much into that. 183, search of material obtained from the burn pit at the Avery. It says Stephen Avery property, but it's a salvage yard. This was on the 19th to the 20th by Holmes and Pevito. And we know that I'm pretty sure this is when the rivets were found that had been missed on the first. I don't know if this is a second or third search, but at least the second search of this same material. I know we've got this report too, so there's nothing new here that we didn't know before. See, there's the rivets there. It says teeth, but we know that's not true. Some partial tooth fragments, but
Unless they got teeth and they didn't match Teresa.
well, maybe you own something there.
In a lot of places.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going through here. I'm going through the live chat. I want to make sure. Okay, I don't think I missed anything else. Okay, sorry about that. All right, moving on. Yeah, see, they're listing all this evidence in the property tags and additional information. And then it's going to go into the ledgers, which we've got. 184, photography of debris examination on the 19th. This is Heimerl. I don't know if these photographs are attached or not. We'll see. 19th and 20th, Heimerl assisted in the investigation and examination of prior to previously recovered from the Avery property. This activity occurred at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab in Madison. Heimerl utilized a 35mm autofocus SLR camera, exposed 3 frames of ISO 400 color print film, documented the re-examination process, and they're not included. Go figure. So like I said, they picked and chose what to include and what to leave out. Contact with the Avery family members on. Okay, now we're up into 2006 from the 3rd to the 9th. And this report's on the 9th by Fassbender. Let's see what this reveals. Okay, I'm sure we've got this one. I'm sure of it. So we're not going to read it. 186, transfer of evidence on the 9th. This happened. We'll jump back in time again to the 23rd of December, 2005. The Fassbender report. He's transferring evidence to investigator Wendy Baldwin. The Sheriff's Department, Fassbender transferred the evidence filed at the Appleton DCI office. Evidence had originally been seized by Sturdivant on 11/8 at the Avery salvage yard office building and consisted of primarily documentary evidence. Yada yada yada. So looks like this was transferred to Calumet. 187, photographs of burned camera and cell phone parts. I'm sure these photographs are included. So the hypocrisy lives on. 12/1 is the occurrence date reported a month and 8 days later. And it talks about that's his report. And then, of course, these are the photographs, which I think we've seen most of these. I won't say that we've seen them all.
I'll be back in just a minute, Jack.
All right. I think they're they're certainly better quality than the scans that we had previously. I'm guessing this is the Palm Pilot parts. Of course, nothing could be, it's all circumstantial, and the serial numbers can be read. That looks like some kind of chip, or maybe part of the camera, the optical part. I'm not really sure. It's burned all the hell. More parts. Yeah, these are definitely much higher quality than anything we have, and there's more of them. We don't have all of these. Part of the frame. That's it. But like I said, I'll try to get these clipped out at some point, and get them isolated. All right, moving on. Report 188, interview with Ronald Schricker. January the 9th, 2006, Fassbender. He wrote the report the same day it happened with this interview. I'm not sure that we have this one. I don't remember the name, but I just could be forgetting. Let's see if we've got this one, 188. We do not have this one. So maybe this is something we want to read. We'll read some of it. I'm not going to say we're going to read it all. We'll see what it's about and then move on. Monday, January 9, 2006, Fassbender telephoned Ron Schricker on his cell phone. DCI had been provided Schricker's name by Auto Trader and advised that Schricker had worked for them out of Appleton and had met with Teresa on one occasion and possibly gone to the salvage yard with her. Upon contacting Schricker, Fassbender identified himself and advised that he was working on the Stephen Avery investigation, and told Schricker that he wanted to ask some questions. Schricker provided the following information. He advised that he had not been with Auto Trader very long and was sent to meet Teresa Halbach. Schricker advised that they were both working up in the same area, as Schricker advised he was living in Appleton. Schricker advised he ultimately met with Halbach in Manitowoc at a restaurant that he could not remember what restaurant. Schricker believes that he met with Halbach probably about April or May of 2005. Schricker advised that he was only that this was the only time he met Halbach. Schricker advised that essentially he met Halbach to tell her that he was going to be dealing primarily with automobile dealerships, as opposed to what Halbach did, which was dealing with private parties selling their vehicles. Schricker advised he essentially gave Halbach his card and told Halbach that information and said hi. Okay. Schricker advised that during the meeting, Halbach said she had to go to the Avery property that day. Schricker advised that Halbach told him that she had been there over a dozen times. Wow. Halbach told him she'd been there a dozen plus times or so prior to that occasion. So this was in April or May, and she's already been there over a dozen times. Okay. Halbach also told Schricker that Avery's was a big place. Schricker advised he did not go to Avery's with Halbach that day. Schricker advised, however, that he did drive by the Avery salvage yard and saw that it was a big place. Advised he was working for Auto Trader in about February and quit working for them in about July. Schricker advised that he did not remember Halbach saying anything else about the Averys. That's interesting. So if she's been there over a dozen plus times by April or May of 2005. And then we've got more. That's very interesting. Okay. I'm not, Christina, are you back yet? I know Susan said she had to jump out for a minute. We'll move on. 189.
I'm back. Jack.
Yep. So did you hear that report I just read, a stricker that we never saw before?
I did not. Uh-uh.
Yeah, basically he was somebody else that worked at Auto Trader. He worked in the Appleton area, mainly working with dealerships for their photographs for Auto Trader. And of course, Teresa would be dealing with private parties. But he said that Halbach had told she that he was going to this Avery's that day, and that she had been there already over a dozen plus times. This was in April or May of 2005. So she's already been there numerous times without incident.
I don't know if she'd been there that many times, but
that's what she told him.
Oh, she told him that?
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, if we all are going to know about memory, so. Perry says, were all these visits to Stephen? Well, she said the salvage yard, so I doubt it was all for just Stephen Avery, because Yonda also sold vehicles, and there could have been others, from the family, or just the yard itself, cars that they would buy and, repair or whatever. So I'm not really sure. I think it's very interesting, though, if what he said is true. Right. Let me get back over here. All right. So that was an interesting little report that we did not have. 109. Oh, your favorite person, Susan, contact with Candy. And the report, the report date is the same day as the occurrence. Wow. Look at you go.
That's special.
And I'm pretty sure we've got this one. I'm sure we read it. What was this report? 189? Yeah, no, we don't have this one. You guys want to read it? Didn't look as very long. Susan, you feel like reading this one?
Sure. On Monday, January
go
9, 2006, at approximately 11 a.m., Candy Avery telephoned Fassbender on his cell phone. Candy Avery asked when her shotgun was going to be returned to her. Candy advised that it was a 20-gauge shotgun and that it hadn't even been used. Candy advised she wanted to go rabbit hunting with redacted. Fassbender essentially told Candy that he could not make a decision on that because the investigation was ongoing and evidence was still being processed by the crime lab. During the conversation, Candy made a comment that Stephen Avery could stay where he's at. Candy commented that the evidence shows that he did it. There was a short discussion about her husband, Earl Avery, and that he was having a difficult time with his family, and that they all believed that Stephen was innocent. Candy commented that Earl is afraid for her. Candy advised that they have harassed her for her viewpoint, primarily during the first week after Stephen's arrest. Candy likened the Avery family to the mafia in the way that they will harass you. Fassbender mentioned that he did not believe Blank was telling the whole truth about her contacts with Stephen, and Candy essentially agreed. I'm sure that's Marie. Candy believed that Marie was afraid to tell the truth about what happened between her and Steve Avery. Fassbender advised Candy that he or someone would contact her when and if her shotgun was available to be returned to her. The contact was then concluded.
So we've already got,
what was the date on that?
The 9th, January 9th, 2006. But
Okay.
remember, Wendy Baldwin had already been after Marie for a couple months. That started,
Yeah.
I think, the 17th of November, 2005, and she began her. And you guys again remember, look, I'm not approving of any contact between Stephen and Marie. I'm not. Don't think that. Please don't. But there had already been an investigation months earlier and concluded. And they didn't charge Avery. That should tell everyone something. If they had enough to charge him with, they would have. There's no doubt in my mind they would have arrested him. Even after all this other stuff, they still didn't arrest and charge him. Uh-oh, Christina dropped out. What the heck? Hope she's all right. Didn't lose connection. She stopped talking, so I'm wondering, because I know that she told me that they're working on their cable stuff in her area. So hopefully she can get yeah, she said it had gotten better after they did some bunch of stuff one day last week, and they're trying to lay hardline instead of it being, because everybody's on wireless where she lives, basically, because there's no actual cable ran out there. But so that's what they're doing. So hopefully she can come back.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's all. If I get off on complaining about candy, I'll be here all night, and I don't want to do that because we're going to go for about another 20 minutes or so, then we're going to call it good. I don't want to bore. I mean, some of these reports, as we've seen, we've got, and there's nothing new there. It's the ones that are new that we don't have, and I know the ones in this range, a number of them we do not have. We've never been able to get them. We've got a partial. We've got a header with no report, or we've got a report with no header. So it's good if we're going to be able to at least have something. Anyway, 190. Search of quarry east of Avery Road. Hey, look at the date here. November the 8th.
Uh-huh.
And
9:05 a.m.
And I know that they were on that. This is probably going to talk about Mickles Materials, right?
Yeah, east
That's
of
the one.
Corey, east of Avery. That's Michaels,
That's
whatever
right.
it is.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I know that they were there by the 6th because there's another report that details that. Anyway, let's move on. Oh, I want to check. See, we've got one entry, and I don't know if yours made this PDF file. I don't remember where I got it, but it's listed as DCI report 187 through 192, and I feel 100% sure it's incomplete, so I'm not even going to open it. Anyway, let's move on with this one. This is okay. This is a 2-page report. We should probably read this one too. Susan, you feel like reading a little bit? You want me to do it?
I can read.
Please.
On Tuesday, November 8th, 2005, Fassbender asked Lisa A. Wilson, special agent, to search a specific area in the quarry located east of Avery Road. Dassey said this area was marked with crime scene tape and a pile of gravel on a tarp and should be sifted through in great detail as the dog had indicated on the spot.
3 dogs had indicated there.
Wilson walked to the area and met with Calumet County Sheriff's Department Deputy Mary Nicolai, who was standing by the spot to search. Also there was Manitowoc County Highway Department heavy machine operator Kevin Resch, who was there with a large excavator. Special Agent Wilson noted that the spot to be searched was at the base of a large gravel sand mound, and that it looked like a scoop of gravel had been taken from the base and placed on a blue tarp at the base. There was crime scene tape on the mound around the scoop area. Special Agent Wilson explained to Deputy Nicolai and Mr. Resch that the dog had indicated on the area and that it had to be sifted through in detail. Wilson, Deputy Nicolai, and Mr. Resch began by slowly sifting through the pile of gravel on the blue tarp. The gravel was wet and sandy. Deputy Nikolai and Special Agent Wilson found a couple strands of what was believed to be dog hair. Nikolai also found a small piece of what looks to either paper or plastic, a piece of black metal that looks like a fishing tackle swivel, and several small dark pieces of what looks like wood. Deputy Nikolai, Special Agent Wilson, and Mr. Resch also seized several possible items of interest, which, once dried, were recognizable as small rocks. Wilson retained these small rocks, so they were no longer of interest once they were recognized for what they were. He kept them anyway.
Yeah.
These items were placed in Ziploc bags. Wilson later assigned these items to DCI property receipt D7713 as follows: 2 strands of suspected dog hair, piece of either paper or plastic, piece of black metal that looks like fishing tackle swivel, several small dark pieces of what looks like wood, several small rocks contained in 2 Ziploc bags. After sifting through the pile on the tarp, we cleared off the tarp, and Wilson had Mr. Resch use his excavator to take another small scoop from the base of the gravel pile, marked by the crime scene tape. Wilson, Deputy Nikolai, and Mr. Resch sifted through the scoop and located nothing. Wilson had Mr. Resch take 2 more scoops, and these were sifted through, and nothing was located. Special Agent Wilson had Mr. Resch use his excavator to skim gravel from the base area several times as Special Agent Wilson scanned the skimmed area. Wilson did not collect anything. Wilson concluded the search of this area and had Mr. Resch return the displaced gravel to the base of the mound. Wilson later obtained an aerial photograph of the Avery property from Special Agent Peter Thielen. In charge, I don't know. Special Agent Wilson had this photograph scanned and used a computer paint program to draw a marker onto the scanned image to indicate the area searched. Wilson drew a yellow line coming in from the right side of the image, with the end of the line indicating the search area in the quarry. Wilson also labeled Avery Road and Highway 147 in the image. The following is attached to this report and made a part of this case file. Scanned image with the road and search location indicators. Wilson submitted the original image obtained from SAC Thielen to the case file.
There you go. And I will tell you guys, and I'm guessing you're going to remember that on November 6th, I can't remember the time of day, that Ertl and his team were called over to that area November 6th, right? And they found the blood and the flesh, and they collected it, and then they dug down 6 feet, 8 feet, whatever the hell it was, into this mound. So why did he send her back over there?
This the same mound? Or maybe a
I'm
different
sure. Well, I can't say that for sure. I would imagine so, but
Yeah.
he doesn't list it. He
Weird.
doesn't say. Yeah, I mean, it's not even talked about in here. It's so misleading to me. Well, it's incomplete. Let me put it that way. That's really what it is. It's incomplete. So, anyway, interesting. I mean,
Mhm.
from an investigatory side, why wouldn't they have done all this when Ertl was there anyway? I don't get it. I just don't understand. And the dogs let them off the property. There were 3 HRD dogs that found this blood and flesh to begin with that led them off the Avery property.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the overhead, I guess, showing, the area, Avery Road, yada, yada, yada. And,
Equals.
yeah, I'm pretty sure
Down
this
the
area,
bottom left.
yeah, I'm pretty sure this area here is what, because I'm we're trying to make sure my orientation here. This is Avery property,
That's
and
Steve's
I'm pretty sure.
trailer. So we don't really even see it here. No. Yeah. That's looking west. The up above, that's I think Redance. Because look at Steven's trailer there. So to the east would be further down.
Here
There
it
we
is.
go. There's Mills.
Here it is. There we go. I was backwards. Okay.
Yeah. Michelle's.
Yeah, this is a really, and this is kind of like a view you'd almost get from Google Earth Pro, because you can, you can do that overhead and you can tilt the camera and blah, blah, blah. Interesting. And it's cut off here. This arrow goes to something, or this line, that part's cut off, but it's showing the location of this mound. I don't know that we have precise location from GPS from Wilson and where Ertl's team went, and that would be really good information to have. Anyway, let's move on. This gives Wilson's report that she talked about, the different items collected. I know we've got this report or this receipt somewhere that we've had from the past. All right, moving on. 191 tip information. Auto Plus out of Green Bay on the we're back in time again on the 18th of November from Lisa Wilson. Looks like she's pretty bad about writing reports too. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's a pretty lengthy. Well, it's a 2-page report. And again, we don't have this one in full. We've got a partial. It's talked about a tip recovered regarding Teresa at 11:07, 11:20 was provided by Patrick Wood of Auto Plus in Green Bay. Synopsis for the tips was that Auto Plus had a former employee who had done some type of work for them that Hobach had done through Auto Trader and had been stalked by someone during her employment with them. I think I do remember this from another.
Yeah, I remember this.
Another source.
Yeah, it was like a car agent.
Yeah, I do remember this. Yeah.
Said that somebody was stalking.
Yes, stalking her, but they ended up being an employee of the state. Pretty sure they ended up. I believe they ended up being some employee of the state. That I don't think we know the results of the total investigation, but I'm almost positive that's what it is. Anyway, report's out there if you want to read. We're not going to read this one, but it's in the full version if anybody wants to read it. Calumet County Sheriff's Department. This is the tip information. 192. Another tip: overheard conversation on the 14th to the 15th of November 2005. Another one from Lisa Wilson. I don't know if we have 192. Let me see if we've got it. Oh, sorry about that. I don't think that. Yeah, see, we've probably got part of that one or part of this one, but this again is the last part of this conglomerated file that I've got. So we'll take a quick look at it. Yeah, okay, 14th to 15th, November 2005. 14th, Wilson was asked to follow up on the tip received by Calumet County regarding Teresa Hallbach. This tip was received on 11/11 at 7:20 p.m. provided by redacted of Two Rivers. Synopsis of the tip was that Chuck Avery's son told, okay, we know about this one too, told his wife that Chuck made a statement. We burned the bitch. The wife then told her mother about this conversation, and the mother told someone she works with about this, and their conversation was overheard. There was a call. Remember, there was a call in the Calumet. We
Yeah.
heard the call. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we've
we know
heard the
about
tip.
that's right. That's
Mhm.
exactly right. And that person wanted to remain anonymous on the tip line. Okay, and see, all that's redacted. We didn't have this before. This is the actual tip sheet. 193. Interview. Let's see if we've got that one so we can find out who's being interviewed here. Voila. Blow this up here. Jesse W. Werleen.
Talking about the Aryan Brotherhood.
I don't remember. I'm sure I've read it because we've got this report, but maybe I should pull up the unredacted version.
Yeah.
January 5th, approximately 2:35, Skorlinski and John Christensen interviewed Jesse Werleen, born in 1962, at the Eau Claire Police Department regarding this investigation. Interview was conducted at the request of Investigator Wiegert of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department after Werleen went to the Eau Claire Police Department on December 7th, 2005. Provided information about Stephen Avery. The information was that Werleen and Avery were inmates at Green Bay Correction, and during his time, Avery had drawn up plans for a torture. Okay, this is the torture chamber document. Yeah, we read this. Okay. And of course, we know that no such thing exists. Moving on. That's a multi-page report. You want to bet it was recorded also? And these other attachments we never had before, so they're there for anyone that wants to research and read. We never had these. Wow. Even a drawing that this guy provided. And his statement. Okay, 194. Processing of store security tape. This Larry Flessert, he's in the technical services unit. He doesn't. He's the main one that does these conversions. It says processing. He's converting, and it's going to give it here. I'll show you guys. Let me close that one.
Probably Menards.
It is. It is the security tape from Menards. You know, I got it. It's really. It's kind of a proprietary thing. It's pretty junky. It's pretty rough to watch because it bounces between multiple security cameras in a timed kind of thing. Anyway, he talks about got this VHS tape from Special Agent Jim Seiler. The tape was from the security system at Menards in Manitowoc and recorded on November 3rd, 2005. Seiler asked that a portion of the tape depicting the checkout area be isolated and preserved. Flessert locked the tape into the safe, room 532 of the headquarters. On the 19th of January, looks like over a month later, Flessert digitized the video clip pointed out by Seiler and placed it on a file on a hard drive of the AV lab computer. The file was then demultiplexed using the Star Witness system. I did actually look into Star Witness. The resulting clip was then transferred to VHS tape. January 17th, Flessert returned to the original VHS tape to Seiler. At that time, Seiler requested that copies of the video be previously processed to be placed on DVD, which he did. This happened in many other instances too, that he's involved in digitizing from one file type to another through their software. I did look into Star Witness though. That's some really interesting software that law enforcement uses. 195, another one from Larry Flessert. Approved by Edward Wall, Madison Homeland Security, DCI. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Okay. Anyway, on January 6th, electronics technician Flesser received from Special Agent Seiler 3 microcassettes, property tag C5070. Seiler asked that the contents of the tapes be transferred to the CD media and that 4 copies be made. January 13th, 2006, Flesser transferred the contents of the microcassettes to CD media. Seiler picked up both the original microcassettes and the CD duplicates on January 17th. I found that interesting. He doesn't mention that this is put into the master computer there in the lab, and they kept a copy. So if somebody else needed a copy or whatever, they wouldn't have to do another conversion. That's stupid to think that they wouldn't do that. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Moving on. 196, transfer of evidence videotape, Fassbender. This occurred the 9th and the 10th. He makes his report a week later, basically. Fassbender, January 9th, Fassbender receives from Special Agent Joseph Capitani evidence described as Maxell VH videotape T120 designated under property receipt 2602-1. Companion to remove the videotape from the Appleton DCI evidence room and transfer it to Fassbender. Per Fassbender's request, the videotape was contained a recording from the in-custody interview of Avery on November 9th. And these were also converted to DVD. I'm going to read the entire thing. We've got this one. Anyway, it gives all the numbers and so forth. 197, photocopy of the 2 vehicles in the junkyard on 11/6/2005. So we're way back in time and this is from Seiler. So 11/6/2005.
Did the report date?
No, the report date is actually 1/23/2006.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a month and a half behind. Actually, he's more than that. He's over 2 months behind.
Yeah, 2.5.
Yep. So he goes through and lists photos taken. I don't know if these are attached or not. We'll see. He gives what he did here. He's got it detailed. I'm pretty sure we've got these. I'm just reading the views off here. I'm pretty sure we've got these, but I'll try to confirm that. See, there's more photos. Oh, here they are. They attached them. Okay. Yeah. Some of these for sure we've seen. Some of them we haven't. Some interest in that Honda there. They took several photos of it. Here's the station wagon. There's something back there with a blue tarp over the top of it. You see that? This vehicle back here's got looks like a blue tarp of some kind.
A little trailer or something.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. I don't know what that is. It's just inside of a car here for some reason. Looks like blood on a shirt there, but I'm sure that went nowhere. I'm sure they would have examined it. Looked like a bullet, unfired. That's still got the bullet on the casing. Looks like a fireman. I'm guessing they were running around with their jaws aloft or whatever at that point, but I don't know that. He's holding that bullet and the trunk of whatever. I think that's the Honda. Anyway, 198. You know what? It's 8. It's going on 9. We've been at it for a couple hours now. Why don't we stop right here? That's enough.
Sounds good, Jack.
We've covered several. We've covered many different reports. We made a lot of ground tonight. So because we're up to page. Yeah, we went well over. I think about 200 pages tonight. So that's enough. I don't want to put everybody into a coma looking at these different reports.
Good job, Jack.
Let's stop that screen. I hope so. I hope Christina's got her able to get back online.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get our end screen up here. There we go. Anyway, I think we got a couple of questions that I highlighted. So I'm going to flip over. We can get those. Actually, it's just one. That's the only one I saw. There's probably been more that I've missed. Not been as much conversation tonight. I guess because we've been reading. So I've been reading so much, and you too, Susan.
Yeah.
It's the only one I see.
We went through some as we went. Also.
3 Rev says, why does a vehicle recovery mechanic deliberately testify and impeach himself about how the RAV was moved? Well, I can't answer that one. I don't think any of us really can.
Yeah. That's just one of those things to ponder.
But yeah, until, we, unless there's other testimony to refute that, I just, there's really nothing more that we can say. I mean, other than what we know.
It's the picture that drives me crazy. Take a picture of their shadows.
Yeah, there's actually several, but I settled on this one because I was going to show another one. I thought, oh, okay, no, I think we'll look at this other one because it's kind of a side view of the photographers there and looking at the burn pit, but you got 5 shadows there. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Jeez.
But yeah, I just don't think we'll ever know why that happened. 3 Revs got Ertl's testimony. It just so much strangeness about the movement of the RAV. Anyway, I was looking to see if there's any other comments we can get before we jump out. I don't see anything. Final thoughts, Susan?
No, I enjoy going through these, and of course, I never have made it through everything in all the years I've been on this case. Made it through the whole file, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think I've read. I'm one of those crazy people that have read pretty much everything. I don't know of any reports that I've missed. I mean, some. I'm sure I probably didn't invest too much in because there wasn't anything in the report to really talk about.
Yeah, to add to the case.
Yeah, but some of these, we don't have. I haven't done a comparison to what we had already before this was released. I just know that there's dozens. Probably, I'm going to guess there's probably 40 at least, maybe 50 that we didn't have that we now have. Of course, a lot of them are redacted, but at least we've got a report. Photos we didn't have before.
Oh no. Ashley was denied a new trial. Damn it.
That's the case that Amy's looking at.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ashley Worth. That sucks.
It does.
I know there were several things that Amy was disappointed that her lawyer did not include in that hearing. Yeah. Which to me were pretty important things. Lawyer had not much interest, evidently.
Oh
That
my
just
God.
sucks. God.
It does suck when you
That
get a
girl
lawyer
deserves
that,
a new trial.
yeah, she does. And that's just
Oh,
from what I know. Wow.
yeah, and a fast decision. No kidding.
Yeah, in comparison to a lot of other cases.
Yeah.
Wow. That is disappointing. Well, I think, just from what little bit I'm hearing here, Amy needs to fire that lawyer and try to get another one. If she didn't
Oh,
include, and
gosh.
if she didn't include some important key pieces of evidence or whatever,
Yeah, she didn't.
that's a big problem.
But she finally got a hearing, and damn it. Oh, just makes me sick.
Yeah, you don't hold back. Why would you hold back anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the lawyer was through the state, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure Amy will probably be doing a live or releasing some type of premiere to talk about what's going on. Maybe some next steps of what Ashley can do. That's awful.
It's awful.
Oh, it is awful. Anyway, I'm going to get us on out of here. We've been here 2 hours,
Yep.
3 hours, 2 hours and 7 minutes. So I promised everybody a couple hours plus or minus a little bit. So I'm trying to hold to that. Because literally we could stay here for hours reading this, and we don't need to do that.
Right.
We can come back. We can come back next week and continue on. And I'll continue on going through and getting these different reports pulled out. What I may do when I get to about 100, I thought about. I'm gonna talk to Zoe. She's really busy because she's doing some other things with her education. But I thought about
It's working.
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's still working full time too, and
Yeah.
so she's really busy. But I thought about asking her, like when I get to the first 100, if she would go ahead and create a new folder in the library and upload the first 100 to this new format that I'm going to lay out. They're going to be. I don't know if I can do that or not. I guess I can, because I think she can place them in the library however we want, but I want them listed by a current date and not the freaking report date. So they're going to be out of order. I can tell you guys that right now. They're going to be listed by report date out of order, but they're going to be correct as far as the timeline.
Yeah, that just makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I may do that. I don't know. Anyway. Alrighty. Thank you so much, Susan, for reading. I hope, and like I said, I hope Christina can get back online. I would just imagine that she's got connection problems. So with that said, I tell everybody I really appreciate everybody joining along that's interested in continuing to find out what we can about the case, these new reports and so forth. Got any questions, of course, let us know in the comments. Tell us on Discord, whatever you want to talk about. There's always people around on Discord. I can't promise you'll get an immediate reply sometimes, depending on who's on and if they got time and so forth. But certainly that's another stream of area for discussion. That said, I'm going to tell everybody this has been a Foul Play production. Have a good night, everyone.